turn it down a little bit. I don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. All right. The main message for today is scapegoating. I need just a moment to do some off-screen things, real quick. Scapegoating. Anybody who comes from an abusive family knows what scapegoating is. What happens is you end up taking the blame for other people's horribleness because they're I don't know, but it all ties. Okay, so it ties into everything that I absolutely detest in humanity, such as lying, deception, that's which is lying, groupthink, that kind of stuff. Hold on, let me get the chat going. We need some chat to go. And just give me a moment so I can get the chat going. Hey, let me explain something to you. People harbor hatred in the weirdest ways, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And people do strange things in the name of addiction. And hold on. I gotta finish this off-screen stuff. And this thing's not loading. There we go. I got the chat to pop out now. Let's get this going. All right. Hey, look, there's the chat. All right. I still need like a couple more polls. One second. Wait for me, please. Okay, scapegoating. Now, I know outward appearances will tell you that I am a bum, loser, piece of shit, beggar, such a fucking street rat, right? And let me tell you, that's the result of being scapegoated. Calisthenics. Good to see you, brother. I feel like you come from quite a rich background, sir. Because to have the motivation that you have and to have the dedication that you have, that doesn't just come from being loved and coddled. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about scapegoats here, Mr. Calisthenics. Calisthenics Life NYC. Check him out on YouTube. This guy, he does so many push-ups that you don't even have to. So I'm talking about scapegoating. I had a cousin. I'm not going to say her name for legal reasons because I don't want her ass to sue me. They found an aluminum can in my grandmother's basement that I used for I puff a very particular green substance in my aluminum can. Now, I'm just now figuring. So these things, they tie together. She told my grandmother that I was smoking crack out of the aluminum can, which is the craziest thing in the world because I have in my life I've handled quite a bit of it, but I have never even thought of ingesting anything aside from El Diablo de Verde. So, piecing things together, I know for a fact that my cousin Elizabeth, I'm not going to say her last name. It's not the same as mine. Because my grandmother was I'm pretty sure she was a black widow because a few of her husbands died under mysterious circumstances. I'm pretty sure my cousin Elizabeth was smoking crack. And my cousin Elizabeth, whose last name I will not say for legal reasons, because I don't want her to sue me. Because she will. She's a horrible. I come from a very bad family, okay? So now I'm realizing that my cousin Elizabeth was probably smoking crack. My cousin Elizabeth is the one who convinced my kid's mother to step out on me while I was in jail 10, 15 years after this incident. And I'm pretty sure that she was still smoking crack, because you'd have to be smoking crack to be on that tip for your family. She was absolutely the one. I know that for a fact now that I'm thinking about it. And so it ties into my mother. So I think that my mother had something to do with convincing my kid's mother to step out on me. Not just leave me, not just kick me to the curb and say goodbye. To step out on me with this guy Dave, which is the reason why I had to have a 23andMe to even know for a fact that that's my kid, because would you believe it? My child was conceived on like a weekend in between jail, because I had to go to Massachusetts jail. When they let me out of Massachusetts jail, I had to go to court on Monday. They let me out on Friday. I had to go to court on Monday. And on Monday, they put me back in Rhode Island jail. Or the other way around. Either way. And yeah, fuck Dave. Well, no, Dave's actually an all right guy. Dave, and he just wanted to bang my kid's mother, which is like I mean, I wanted to do that too, so I can't blame the guy for doing what men do. It is what it is, and he found his little in, and he got it in. You know what I'm saying? And good for him. Good for you, Dave. If you're seeing this by any chance, I don't think Dave's watching my YouTube. But if you are seeing this, Dave, good job. I wanted to smash too. You got it. But it took a whole lot of lies and manipulation to create the circumstances where Dave was able to. Okay, so collaborating. These people, they go to churches and they collaborate with the people there to create social circumstances to manipulate people, because sick people who go to churches and stuff, they think they need to hit rock bottom to meet God, and because they don't realize that God's not real, and it's an idea that's imposed by man and created by man, because people have a backwards way of thinking. They think, oh, the life is fine-tuned for the universe. And that's the truth. Life is fine-tuned to the universe. But I said it wrong. They think that the universe is fine-tuned for life. No. The life is going to get in where it fits in. Slow down now. I know. I understand, because when I tell people that God isn't real, yeah, and that's why I had it backwards. But because when I tell people God isn't real, they take that personally, because they've dedicated a whole lot of life hours to that false, thing that people use to control people. So what ends up happening is people who own businesses, right? They'll refuse to hire you because they went to church and they heard you were possessed by demons, or horrible person by their standards. Because if people who believe in God think that people who don't believe in God don't even have morals, right? And that's bogus, because I'm one of the most principled, moral people that I know. If you check my previous stream, I used to sell a lot of drugs when I was a child, because I was impoverished, and that was like my avenue. But then a lady brought a 15-year-old to my house talking about she was going to turn her out, and I slammed the door in her face and said, "Get the fuck out of here." And I called my friend immediately and said, "You got to come get all this stuff out of my house." Because it was his anyway. He left. He doesn't. So yeah, he's one of those God people that takes it like very personally that God's not real. And I don't give you can get offended by that. It's no big deal to me. They made it illegal now to say that God's not real, and that's kind of silly because that means they're losing control. They're losing their little grip on society, so they have to make it illegal to say that God's not real. But that also shows that how desperate they are, the God people, to and how it shows that they're losing control. They're desperate and they're clawing. So anyway, back to what I was talking about, scapegoating. My cousin made me her scapegoat because she had seen my dad make me his scapegoat. Oh, and that's another. So I'm probably playing it twice despite not wanting to. There we go. I think I fixed it. So I wanted to get that off my chest. My own mother is trying to scapegoat me, I believe, because my own sister won't even talk to me right now. And my sister is supposed to be like my anchor, and she's just MIA. And so what it seems like when your whole entire family turns against you, right? It says in the Bible, "Oh, the bad fruits. Guy's making bad fruits. He must be a bad guy, right?" No. What it is I was born into a family of horrible people, and they make it their life's mission to make sure that I have to suck up the blame for everything because they hate my grandmother hates men, and I'm pretty sure Liz does too. Wild. It's crazy it took this long for me to even realize. So anyway, if you're seeing this and you've suffered any kind of abuse from your family, because I also suffered physical abuse from my dad, and he tried to tell my whole family that I was lying, and I wasn't. Because here I am 30 years later, and I'm still, my story hasn't changed. My dad was an abusive dickhead. He faked his own death so he wouldn't have to take responsibility for me. Makes sense now. My dad's last words to me were, "Don't drop the soap," because he was a homophobe. He was like, he was terrified that I would grow up gay. I don't know. That is a weird thing. What, if, like, I kind of want to go do gay stuff just to spite him now. You know. No, for real. This guy, he had my grandmother in on it too. Shook the thing of it said, "Oh, this is his ash. Don't drop the soap." Yeah, that's some deeply homophobic stuff. Cause I can fight. Okay, not that I could fight multiple men in a shower. Probably not. But I can fight like one dude. At least I can fight up to like maybe 4 guys by myself, like normal, regular, average guys. You calisthenics would give me a run for my money, but I got that dog in me, and so like I'm sorry, but I might have to bite you in the nose or something. But I'm gonna win that. I'm gonna walk away from that. I'm gonna hit you with the Artie Lang. Crazy. So, it leads me to believe leads me to believe that I'm under, like, they tried to invest, and this is over 10 years, this is 12 years ago. If there was an investing, because I did do, like I said, I sold drugs when I was a kid, but if you try to match things up and everything, and I did do, I robbed banks when I was a kid. When I was 16 years old, I slapped my dad in the face with $1,000 that taken from a bank. But that whole thing was dealt with. I didn't partake. I didn't get any kind of consequences from that. Nor should I. I was a child, Um, and I was impoverished, so like, just let me have the money. What the fuck? No, I really do need a movie, and that's the thing is like, so I got a problem where I have to be honest all the time, even to my own detriment. It's something that's wrong with me. I think I got the autism, and so I have to be honest all the time, even if it like hurts me or the people around me. I have to tell the truth. Um, and it kind of like, dude, I tried to lie for my dad when they saw the bruises on me in school. I was like, just regular stuff, but they deduced what was happening. But it's worse in group homes because the devil you don't know versus the devil you do know. And so I'm having this realization that my mom and my cousin collaborated to destroy my life, knowing that the only thing in this world that I fucking love is my kid. The only thing that motivates me, the only thing I care about, the only thing that keeps my heart pumping in the morning when I wake up is the idea that maybe something will change and I'll be a part of my kid's life. And they thought it would destroy me. They thought it would, but they don't realize I'm built a way tougher stuff than them. Oh, yeah. Because that's all that does. If you abuse a person and you don't kill them, they are going to grow up to be tough. And now, that's another thing. I don't really actually think I'm tough. Like, I know for a fact that I am not any more tough than the next person. And so when I feel like tough and full of bravado, I'm hoping that the next person does too and realizes that they also have that dog in them. Just like how you do calisthenics when you try to motivate people, I just have a different direction and goal that I'm trying to motivate towards. You understand? I want to motivate absolutely everyone to be citizen soldiers, like in the craziest way. I want them to be smart. I want them to be aware, and I want them to be strong. You know, and I want the same thing for my daughter, and that's why she needs her father. It's been proven that children need both of their parents. You can't raise a kid every other weekend. You cannot raise a kid from Friday to Sunday. It's just not possible. It just creates problems in their life when the parents are separated and just can't manage to get along. It's been proven time and again that the pheromones, the everything, it doesn't link up right unless both parents are in the picture. Now, what happens is, this happens to a lot of men, and they end up just hating women, and that's why the divorced dad trope is a thing. I don't hate women because of what certain women have put me through. Uh, so I guess that makes me an outlier because, like I said, most men going through my circumstances would just turn around and hate all women. Yo, what up, Zaid? FTG Zaid 999. I don't know if they post anything, but I was told to call this person Zaid. So what up, Zaid? What's good? What's crack-a-lacking? It's good to see you on the YouTube. Glad to have you here. Don't hate women. It's not women's fault that some women hate men, And then so what that does is it creates the double hate. You can't do that. That's not how that works. Um, I've got I've gotten into a lot of trouble in situations in my life because I love women. I was dating a porn star, like an actual porn star. You can look her up. Her name's Genevieve Sin, and she asked me to like be her boyfriend, to like steady, like to, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. Um, what what caused a lot of problems with me and my kid's mother is that we had made an agreement that I was still gonna mac it, which I was young and trying to spread my seed to anyone that would receive it. You understand? Now I'm 38 and I've grown up a lot and I'm still trying to spread my seed into anyone who will receive it. It's just there from a long time, so I stuck to it. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I had a I had a all of my old stuff is Toke Up King of 401, and that's like as far from professional or presentable as one can get. Uh, what's her name? We gotta check. Yeah, Genevieve Sin, man, go check her out. I got pictures of it. So anyway, I'm not gonna go ahead and say things that don't, because dude, I'm telling you, when I tell my life story, it sounds like I'm lying. It's just because everything's just so unimaginable. Like I just it happened that way, and everything was going great in my life, honestly, up until COVID happened. And then I couldn't be a comedian anymore because I don't do comedy just to hear myself talk. I actually hate the sound of my voice. And so and I actually hate attention. I don't like attention. But and here I am, like, I need it. I need attention because my life is horrible outside of my control. And so I need other people to uh try to offset the out of controlness, because I am not gonna assert myself anywhere beyond like a YouTube live stream type situation. Everything else is not worth my time. It's not worth your time either, probably. uh but I do need to build a community. So So yeah, when you're honest, okay, so when you're honest, people get upset. And like and then when you're not, when you don't match that energy, when you're not as upset as they are and you're just flippantly saying the truth, they want to assault you. They get very upset. They get more upset. They cover your upsetness too. And so they want to assault you, and I'm not down with that. I'm not going to just let people beat on me. I'm from the projects, okay? I had enough of that up until the 4th grade when I decided I'm going to start swinging back on people. You can't just, anybody watching this, you can't just let people whoop your ass. I know it's not nice to hurt other people. I don't want to. I never wanted to. But after like 4 years of getting my ass whooped, I finally had enough. And then, so I'd get my ass whooped, and then I'd go home and I'd tell my dad I got my ass whooped, and he'd whoop my ass. Because I ain't raising no pussy. Well, guess what, Dad? You raised a pussy. Because I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to get aggressive with people. I don't want to put my hands on nobody except women. And I want to do it in a violent way. I want to do it in the opposite of a violent way. I want to put my hands on women in a non-violent kind of way. You know? But there's men out there who want to put their hands on men. He's a real tough guy. Got something to prove. And I don't get it. And so I can actually fight for real. And like I said to calisthenics, when I fight for my life, dog. I'm not on that let's box time. I'm on that now you've assaulted me and I'm gonna hurt you time. You know, that's it. And I didn't get any size to me up until high school when I shot up like and bulked out. But I was in group homes and I had to fight older kids. So I know how, like, when I was small and then I was getting punched in the head as a little kid by a 6'1" man. So like I can take a hit. I know that I could take a hit. I've never been rendered unconscious through an assault. The police, the corrections officers at the Adult Corrections Institute rendered me unconscious, but they had to use a syringe and some sedatives to do it. And this is after they used 3 cans of bear mace on me, which, by the way, I am immune to mace. It doesn't affect me, they're all coughing. Oh my God, the mace, it's in my lungs. And I'm like, spray me some more. You know, it's like, that stuff's tasty. Can I have some for my food? You know, and you got to tase me. You got to tase me. That's the only thing that's gonna work. You can't mace if you got mace and you thinking, I'm gonna mace this guy. No, you gotta reach for the other pocket. You gotta hit me with the taser or a gun. Like that might slow me down a little bit. I don't know. So, and that's another thing, is this is the person I am. I do not need drugs to get amped the fuck up. That's just the way that is. It's always been that way. And so they had the ACI guys, they had to drag me to the psych ward for no reason. Like, I wasn't freaking out before this. They had told me to get in the shower. And I was like, all right, I'll go get in the shower. And I was washing, and I noticed that there was like extra guards around the shower. And so I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? What is this about? And so they started unloading their cans of mace on me. And I was like, oh, that's what this is about. They want to hurt me. And that's when, but they had already decided that I was going to the psych ward as like a punishment. If anyone's ever been like a rebel, if you've ever fought the system, you know that that's just what they do. Or they just beat you to death, but they're doing less and less of that these days because of the cameras and the accountability, and they really, really want that pension, and you kind of don't get the pension when you kill people. They take that away. They're like, you can't have more money, but you could still like live a life. You don't go to jail or anything like that, but they do take your pension, especially if your family sues the state because you killed them. You know, that's what happens. So, yeah, dog, I've been through it, all right? And it's because my family is I come from a shitty family. I would have rather have been in the streets homeless with no income than to deal with whatever bullshit they wanted to feed me, you know? It's okay to walk away from your family. It's okay to tell your family, fuck you. You don't need them. You really don't. There's other people out there in the world that are good and decent with good hearts that want to help you and want to love you, okay? And don't start adjusting in your mind what you think love is because people refuse to give you that love, okay? It's that's not how it works. You leave. Fuck them. Anybody loves you wrong, or abuses you and claims they love you and that's why they're doing it, fuck that person. Not the way that I was talking about earlier that Dave did it to my kid's mother, or that I did to Genevieve Sin. Not that kind of. I'm talking a whole different kind of fuck. Is like you gotta distance yourself. You can't be doing the first kind of fucking with people who love you wrong. That's just, don't do that. And now it's if you've been in a situation where it took you a while to realize that somebody was loving you wrong, that's fine. You'll get through it, and you just cut all ties. You're better off by yourself. Where did you meet the porn star? On the internet. She messaged me on her 18th birthday talking about, I've followed you for a long time. Can I come see you? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, as long as you fucking of age and shit. And she was like, today is my birthday. And I checked her ID. Sure as shit, it was her birthday that day. And she was in the back of my butt. My buddy Zach went to go pick her up, and she was in the back of my buddy Zach's van. And as soon as I checked that ID, bro, she was wearing a skirt. Them legs went up. Anyway, and it was on. And I took her. We went and did some shows in New York. We got stranded in New York. More after hearing all that you've been through. with some. Duh. See, it's not going to be a miracle. It's going to be calculated. It's going to be years of dedication to, and that's another thing is just because you're desperate and need money, you can't be taking it from everybody because that's mob rules. They give you the money and they ask for the favor later. You can't just accept money from anybody and everybody. You got to really be careful about who you have dealings with. And so I'm from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, where like the mob still runs the state. Buddy Cianci was busted for corruption because he was giving all his buddies work and nobody else, which just sounds like a good friend to me. I don't. It's so yeah, and then so I've walked the actual same streets as Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft. Like I'm that kind of crazy. Like you probably could tell that already, but I'd like to say that out loud. It's one of my favorite things is that I have walked the exact same streets as Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft. Providence, Rhode Island. It's a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, go there, check it out. Bring a gun. You'll have a good time. So, oh yeah, and so I'm from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, the home of CVS, one of the largest drug dealers on the planet. I tried to get rich like they did. I had the example set before me, and I tried to follow that example. And then again, I didn't have the conscience for it. I didn't have the wherewithal to put poison in my community, even if it meant my success. I said, I'd rather be on the bottom rung with these people than to be above them and allow them to suffer. This was a choice I made. And it's a choice that I would make a time, and I have made time and again. You know, I would 100% rather suffer with people than to be the cause of anyone suffering. Unless I decide that you probably deserve suffering, then I'm a relentless asshole until you fight me. And you can ask anybody. I show up. I pull up. I don't even have a car, and I pull up. I'll steal a car to go fist fight somebody. That's the kind of person in fact, so I have warrants right now because of a stolen car that ended in me fighting the cops. It's just the way I'm built. It's what I'm built for. It's what I'm built to do. It's just how I conduct myself. I don't like authority because it's made up. That little blue outfit in the badge in the 16 weeks of training, whatever you did, that don't mean a fucking thing to me unless you prove to me that you are an authority by being emblematic of principles and respect. Because when I was 13 years old, I got punched in the back of the head by a cop, and since then it's been on. Anybody in one of them suits with the badge on, you're my enemy off rip until you prove to me otherwise. That's just how that is. Sorry, it's not my fault. Some guy punched me in the back of the head when I was handcuffed at 13. So now it's just that is what it is. That's how that goes. Fuck you and anybody riding with you. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. And so what ends up happening is I have these large gaps in my employment where people just assume that I don't want to work, which I mean, at the end of the day, who does? Who wants to fucking work? I mean, I want to work towards what I need. I want to, I don't want to work and make somebody else unimaginably rich while I can barely pay rent and feed myself. That's crazy. And I don't understand how people do it. They wake up every day, put on their best shoes, and go make somebody else rich. It don't make sense to me to live like that. And so I end up getting trapped because I don't want to do the regular rat race. I've had it with being alive since I was 9 years old. Like I've had enough, until I had a kid, and then now it's like I'm in between. Like I'm on the fence. You kind of like the life thing, kind of love life. Life is beautiful. It does have its beautiful moments, but you can't let that blind you to the horrible things, because that's how you get stabbed in the back. That's how you get flanked, is when you're not paying, when you're just paying attention to, oh, hey, life is beautiful, look, there's bubbles and birds, yeah. That's when you get it, you know. So you can't keep your head in the clouds. You have to stay here in reality, where things suck sometimes. That's just how that is. Word. Word. Yeah, no, be see, that's another reason why I put my stuff out there, is because I want people to realize what they have, so they don't take everything for granted. Like like it being born into a good family, being born, and that's another, my grandmother had money, but she thought that because she had money she could abuse people. And that's what a lot of people with money seem to think, is that, oh, well, I got money, so I can hire a maid, I can hire a nanny, I can hire a cook, and then they abuse that person by not giving them their value, by not paying them what they're worth. Now, are there some people who have money that pay people well for their skills? Sure. Is that the majority of people who have money? Absolutely not. Because how you get rich in this world is by making sure you don't pay people what they're worth, and making sure that you skim off the top, making sure that you, at the end of the day, profit. That's why I don't like capitalism. There's losers built into the equation. To capitalize means to take from someone else. And the problem with that is, too many of these people, the capitalists, are taking from people who don't have it. If you rob a million people for $1, you probably will never ever go to jail. But if you pull some Bernie Madoff shit and start robbing the millionaires, you will die in prison. India, yeah, India is a little crazy because they still have the caste system, and but it's not even their fault, because that's what England did to that joint. Is Indian people, Hinduism. I got no beef with Hindus. I got no beef with Indians, except for like the ones that are particularly colonized. Those are the ones who abuse the people who are under them. I think that comes from Britain. I think the English made that normal throughout the world, because that's what they did. They'd steal everything of value. You go to the British museums now, and they're holding, in that tiny little island, that small little island has treasures from Egypt, India, China, the Mayans. It has all kinds of their. You give these people their shit back. What the fuck? Ugh. And they got the parliament and shit, but they still have the king and queen, and they're like, oh, well, it's just a title, it doesn't really mean anything. It's like, okay, but they get their money to live from your efforts. For what? Because they were born into a rich family? Nah. See, I did the 23andMe, as I mentioned earlier, and I have Marie Antoinette is on my maternal haplo group, and so I might actually be the king of France, but I can't tell anybody, because you know what happens in France to kings is they just none of that. They don't play with that shit, and I fully understand. Like, if I was King Henry VIII, shit would not have went down the way that it went down. I wouldn't have been getting 600 pounds wide with however many wives, while the people in the streets are starving, because starving people, they're coming for your fat ass, bro. This it's happening again. It's happening now with Donald Trump's flabby, floppy, diaper wearing bullshit. People are starving in these fucking streets, and they're not gonna do that for a long time. They're not. You can only starve people for so long before they start going, oh, hey, the food's actually right fucking there. And then they start doing raids on Whole Foods, you know? It's, I don't know. So people act like, so you remember they were doing raids on like jewelry stores, and people would just run in mass, like 30 motherfuckers will run in, smash it up, grab shit, and go. Because they needed it. They needed it. The diamonds actually had, especially blood diamonds, have no intrinsic value. They're not worth anything. They're just fucking rocks. They're carbon. That's all it is. It's carbon. And we can make diamonds in a lab now. And so they're totally fine enslaving people to get emeralds, Elon Musk, and diamonds, but then when they get them diamonds and them emeralds stolen from them, it's all, let's call the cops time. Well, where were the fucking cops in Africa? And so the same thing in South Africa. So, oh, dude, I heard the funniest joke. They were like, oh, yeah, I know, I thought white people had it pretty good in South Africa. Must be the Mandela effect. That's one of the funniest jokes I ever heard in my life. I heard that shit last night, and I can't, that'll never, ever leave my brain. So what ends up happening when you're anti-racist, anti-oppression type person is you end up becoming a target. And you know what? I'd rather have that target on my back than the people that are being fucking oppressed every day by these religious groups, by these religious fanatics on behalf of the billionaires. It's kind of wild to me. Dude, I think the billionaires, right? I think they're trying to have poor people build their rockets so they can leave the planet, because they know, because I mean, it's not even underground information anymore. Climate change is happening. There's gonna be, things are gonna get weird on this planet, okay? Because humans don't like to die. Even the ones that want to die don't really want to die. If you sit next to them and talk to them for a little while, pass them a little bit, they're usually fine after that, because it's just what it is they want to escape the pain, because life, people have it in their head that life is supposed to be suffering, and that suffering equates to humanity. And I think that's absolutely insane. But again, that comes from the religious people who rule the world. But they're not suffering. Whoa, why the fuck should I? It don't make no sense to me. I don't know. Yeah, so I just wanted to get off. I wanted to get that off my chest. I wanted to let everybody know that I know, because I knew about the can thing. I knew that, but I had never put two and two together to realize that bitch must be smoking crack. Fuck that bitch. Bottom line, if I see you again, Liz, it's on. Not even like Donkey Kong, because there's a way to win that. You ain't gonna win this. I can't even say what I want to do, because it's YouTube and I got to keep it at least a little, friendly. But Elizabeth, stay out of my fucking way. Bottom line. Ari, I love you. I'm sorry that you have to deal with what you have to deal with, and I'm sorry that things are the way they are for you right now. But I promise you, it's outside of my control. If it wasn't outside of my control, because the courts hate men. Bottom line, the courts are biased towards women and to harm men, take men's rights away. That's what the whole point of it is. Because you can't count on, the courts exist because you can't count on people to be reasonable. It takes, for some reason, most people are absolutely unreasonable. You can't reason with them because they are so unreasonable. They don't know why they think the things that they do. Most people get through life without examining themselves even one time. And I forget who said it, but the unexamined self can never be happy. So take a moment, look at your life, look at yourself, look at what's around you, and why do you think the way that you think? Why do certain things repulse you? Why are certain things attractive to you? You have to analyze these things in order to truly know yourself and to love yourself. All right. Thanks for watching. I love you. Bye.